March 1st, 2010. This is Diehard Gamer Radio Show 84.
Now with EVPs.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go!
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Just turn the volume all the way up and listen in the background.
Yeah. I'm sure the distortion and artifacting will show something that sounds remotely intelligent.
Helps if you play it backwards.
Yeah. And if you tell the audience, what it's saying before you play it. So there's no, selection bias there at all.
Well, this podcast is already over.
They're over before they start everything.
All right. So I am Murdock, and with me I have John,
Yep.
Steve,
Mm-hmm.
and coming back for his 292nd appearance, we have Roger, who runs his own anime store. GimmeAnime.com is an awesome, awesome store. Buy all your anime stuff there.
I hope you get a kickback for that.
Yeah.
Well, I could kick him under the table at this point in time, but
Close enough.
So any specials, Roger, that you'd like to tell the audience? Some free advertising time here that will reach no one.
Yeah.
If somebody were to advertise their podcast, maybe it would.
I need a consultant because I'm really not good with the whole self-promotion.
It's called Project Wonderful, or either that, or give us flyers, and we'll take them to the conventions that we go to.
I've,
You got any specials on Lolicon hentai this month there, Roger? Just make sure you don't bring it to Iowa, apparently.
Not at the moment, no.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we've been busy just upgrading the site because of change in software, so we can add things from last year like Twitter. So
It's conservative there with the last year assignment there.
So
Soon he'll use HTML on the website.
So make sure to upgrade your browsers from Netscape in order to be able to view
Mosaic.
So if you've been
Cyberdog.
So if you've been looking at GimmeAnime.com and links now. Now it's got.
What's wrong with links?
The
web was meant to be viewed.
Is it links or with the I or the Y?
The Y.
Oh,
you do need to upgrade then.
You need to go to the links with the I because at least that'll properly render tables. And I think it'll render frames too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Will it properly render the blink tag?
I think links did that with a Y.
Since it's no longer part of the standard, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, didn't when XKCD did the
you can't do it
the
as CSS.
GeoCities thing that.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't actually done with old technology.
Yeah.
That was totally modern CSS.
Yeah,
Well, they had to because the things like the blink tag didn't work anymore.
They had to use text styling on in CSS to make it look like a shitty old GeoCities code. I was like,
it
wow,
was a
this
triumph of web design.
Yeah, and in some fashion anyway, for some value of triumph.
All right. So do we have anything else to share before we go
I don't
on?
know. You're the moderator.
Okay,
You run this bitch.
All right. Do you have anything to plug, Steve?
No.
Well, how about your webcomic?
Well, there's nothing there yet.
Oh, well.
So,
Doom.
yeah.
And nothing from you to plug, right, John?
No.
He was plugging the 3-panel Soul, whatever the hell it was.
Linked off to Minecraft today. It's a fascinating little game.
Okay. So, first up, Midway's XBLA classics removed from the marketplace because, well, Midway no longer exists.
So, if you've already bought some of these, can you still re-download them?
As far as I know, yeah, well...
I don't
Good
know.
question. I don't know.
Once again, problem with digital distribution.
Yeah, I didn't even think about this. I actually bought Gauntlet a while back on when they were having a sale. I should probably go see if I still have it.
Well,
I'm
you
sure
probably
you still have it because as long as it's on your console, it's licensed to your console and it'll work for all time. The question is whether or not, when your console falls over, the hard drive dies, if you can still re-download it off the marketplace.
and I think they've been removed from the marketplace. They've been pulled due to quote unquote publisher evolving rights and permissions.
AKA, we haven't figured out who owns it yet, and therefore we can't make money from them.
Well, what's going to happen is they're waiting for the movie rights to all these games first.
Yeah.
How's this going to affect that whole thing with the Xbox Live arcade thing?
Apparently, you don't get Midway games.
Wow.
I thought this was some of the stuff they were advertising for it too, but maybe not.
Well, I'm wondering, isn't a lot of these games going to end up on the game room?
That I don't know. They haven't really announced too much about the game room games. All we know is that game room is coming. That's all we know. And it's not a true arcade experience because all the arcade games will work, but we're not going to go into that. So,
Well, if we're lucky, it'll come with an accessory that you have to insert coins into.
Yeah, it'll come with an accessory that
Yes.
disables one of the dip switches on your joystick.
no,
One part of the D-pad doesn't work.
yeah, the most current game on the Xbox arcade, and it'll have like the degauss on one corner of the
Yes.
screen, and it'll be
Yes.
all like a blue green.
Yeah,
It'll be the hardcore difficulty level.
yeah.
So next up, our good friend, well, John's good friend here, Michael Atkinson, likens gamers to biker gangs.
But no, actually, he said the gamers were worse than biker gangs
What is it?
because he's been threatened by gamers. Apparently,
Cool.
the biker gangs he's totally okay with.
Cool. Does that mean gamers can now, provide security at concerts?
No, but they can compete in Thunderdome.
I think they usually do.
No, the gamers don't go anywhere near Thunderdome.
Australian gamers might.
Maybe.
Everything's more badass down there.
Well, no, everything just tries to kill you down there. I don't know
That's
if
a
that makes it
reasonable
bad.
definition of
No,
badass.
no, it doesn't. Have you seen the spiders down there? They're like as large as your head.
And they'll kill you, just like every other thing in the continent.
Yeah, that's true.
Apparently, the gamers too.
Even the medicine there kills you.
That's
Wow, that's really hardcore.
Yeah, yeah. That's why they needed to ban that morphine stuff from Fallout 3.
because people were using morphine and
It's okay now. They can look for medics, so that's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
These Fallout 3 references have been brought to you by Diehard Gamer Radio. So, next up, news that might interest Roger. I don't know. Myst Online Uru Live returns as free to play.
Yeah, I saw something about that. I actually considered trying it out because, well, it's free.
You know, you can do nothing without being in front of a computer.
So does that mean it's going to be ad supported? You're going to be like walking around this steampunk laboratory and up
Yeah.
pops a McDonald's ad? How are they making money off this?
Yeah, what's their impetus to do this?
I don't know.
All right.
Well, all I know is that it like reverted back to the original people rather than whoever was trying to run this MMO, and then they
But
just
the
put it up
original
for free.
studio went out of business. That was like Red Entertainment or something, or Cyan World.
I forgot who it was. So
It was that Red Globe.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to give you a warning, John, about this whole research thing that you just
No,
can't
it's okay.
seem to grasp.
If you knew it before you came into the podcast, you're okay. You just
Oh.
can't do research on the topic during or after it is mentioned.
Okay. All right.
Because then you might have the answer by the time the next podcast rolls around.
Yep.
Thus
And that's a
embarrassing everyone.
never-ending trap. That's what that is.
Mhm.
We could be talking about every old podcast, every new podcast for all of eternity.
Okay.
We just don't have a staff for that sort of thing.
What's it like having a staff?
I don't know, but Die Hard Game Radio does not print retractions. So
Okay. So some interest in this. Do you have any interest in this, John? Because
This was the third-person one, right?
I don't. Roger, do you third person Myst?
Yeah, the last I knew it was third person.
Yeah, so that doesn't seem very Myst-like.
Well, neither is running into other people.
Yeah, massively multiplayer, also weird.
Yeah, it's kind of like Roberta Williams decided to make a Myst game.
Didn't she already do that?
Well, no, the Myst made a King's Quest that didn't have other characters in it.
Can we go through one podcast without mentioning Roberta Williams?
I don't think we've ever mentioned Roberta
No,
Williams.
we have before.
I think you just dream of Roberta Williams.
No.
Yeah.
No, I sat through some of the FMV for Phantasmagoria. I don't dream about that. So, next up, Civilization 5 coming to PC this fall, which would interest anyone?
Honestly, Civilization Revolution was everything I wanted out of Civilization. Don't really need a more complicated Civilization. I just needed a simpler one.
Oh. And Steve, have you...
Moving away from PC gaming. So, nope.
Okay. Raj, any Civ love from you?
Not really recently, no. I mean, I don't know. I think that kind of cartoonish Xbox version kind of...
Civilization Revolution.
Yeah, kind of destroyed it for me. I tried playing that, and it was just, I couldn't get into it.
Oh, love that game. It's perfect.
To each their own.
I like the first one best.
Well, that's why Civilization Revolutions is the first game again.
Oh, is it?
It's streamlined, so it's got some UI improvements that were really needed. A couple of minor changes for making armies work like armies, which is really a good idea and just helps. But it's everything I loved about the first game that, I easily played for 3 years of my life back in high school. And
So
I
long
love
as I
playing
can
it again.
stop a phalanx or a group of tanks with the phalanx.
If you roll well.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that.
What system did you play this version of Civ
Oh, that
on?
had to have been on a 2GS maybe, or 386 at the most.
That was
Maybe a
386. I was rocking it on, yeah.
Yeah.
Was rocking it on.
It's about the same time
a
that
good
X-Wing
machine.
came out.
Hmm.
X-Wing was a good game for its time too. Everybody is always more about TIE Fighter, but I really liked X-Wing.
I like TIE Fighter better.
See?
Well, he was the Sega kid though too. So.
I'm definitely in the minority of liking X-Fighter better than TIE Fighter. Most people like TIE Fighter better for some reason.
I think the big one for me was when you started out in TIE Fighter, you had such horrible, shitty fighters.
You did.
And by the time you got around to the Defender, it felt so good.
Then you'd use smart bombs and destroy the planet. Oh, not that.
Well,
Defender.
hell, you just got shields.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shields for a TIE fighter?
Interceptors had TIE Fighter had shields.
Yeah, you only had to get through half the game to work up to that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
well, this is interesting. Next up, Metal Gear Arcade, which is awesome, except for the fact that the arcade cabinet is not shaped like a giant cardboard box.
The only thing I remember reading about this was something about hygiene considerations.
What?
Something
Well-
about since everybody's got to wear the same 3D goggles plastered on their face. And,
Huh.
I
But-
know a game I'm not playing.
Well,
I don't know. They had that with that virtual cop game, and it didn't seem to be an issue.
yeah. So, I don't know if you've ever actually been in an arcade and wondered about hygiene, because I'm sure Steve probably has a couple stories he can share.
I think it's irrelevant at this point because there's nobody in the arcade.
Yeah,
That's okay. I mean,
gotta
go
find
to
the
Dave and
arcade.
Buster's, and then they're reasonably sterile because you just splash your drink over the top. of it.
Yep. Got my Tom Collins here. Just a second here. There we go.
You're assuming that the drinks have some sort of.
Got my Cape Cod here that'll sterilize that.
Cod.
No problem.
What is a Cape Cod? Is it like?
It's vodka and cranberry juice.
Oh, I thought it was like vodka and they put a giant fish in it or something like that.
No. No, there's no fish
No,
involved.
the person involved is the fish.
What? Why'd you hit me, Em? Was that a stupid question? I don't know what to
Quick,
never
hit him
drink.
again. He's getting off track.
All
Yes,
right,
he's
all
being a horrible moderator.
right. Again.
Again.
Call of Duty
Still.
Call of Duty 7 set in Vietnam, which is
Wait a minute. How did we get up to 7 all of a sudden?
I
The last Call of Duty game was Call of Duty 4.
it's apparent.
Well,
Hey,
we had Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, but they weren't Call of Duty 5 and 6. They
well,
were like a whole
technically they're
different
5
deal.
and 6.
Well, so the important question is Infinity Ward making this one?
I don't know.
So that is the important question. Because if
Uh,
it's anybody at Infinity Ward, then you can skip it.
I'm seeing a problem with this no research thing.
No, there's no problem.
You know, we do have computers we could
No,
probably
there
use.
will be
No.
no.
All
If
right.
people wanted
You're
actual
going to-
information, they wouldn't be listening to the podcast.
You're going to lose the soul of Diehard
Yeah.
Gamer Radio. You
The
keep
soul
this
of
up.
Diehard Gamer Radio is video gaming ignorance.
No, that's all the internet.
Yeah, no,
That's
that's
4chan's
ignorance and
V.
porn. And we just don't have any porn.
Okay. So finally, a Call of Duty not set in a small Asian country. Oh wait.
Well,
No.
but see, that's the thing is Modern Warfare 1 and 2 also not set
Well, none of them were set in an
in
Asian country.
In Europe,
Yeah.
basically.
No, they're
No.
Nope. There's
Nope.
never been.
You're
there was
thinking
the Medal
of,
of Honor one that did the.
You're thinking
Allied
of Battlefield
assault.
1942 and Battlefield Vietnam.
Yeah, that's
Battlefield
it.
Vietnam was in a small.
I'm
Asian
pretty
country.
sure one of these
Nope.
have
Nope.
taken place
Call
in
of Duty
Japan.
has never ever been over. in
I'll look it
Japan.
up on the interwebs.
Can't do that.
after
shit.
after the
No,
podcast.
you can't do that.
Ugh.
That's why the whole
it-
joke of can we have a first-person shooter that doesn't take place during World War II, because they all took place during World War II, and there was never, if you will recall, there was never a land invasion of Japan.
Can I get a mulligan for this one?
No.
No.
I was hoping though that they just keep going into the future. We had
Yeah.
Modern Warfare. I was hoping for in space.
Future warfare. Well, I mean, they had that Battlefield 2040 something or other.
2142
Yeah.
because it was still World War II. It was
Oh,
just
is it just
in the future.
See, I never played that one. I just
Wait,
remember going.
what?
Oh, I see. We're going in the future now.
They had robots.
Okay.
Still wasn't in Asia though.
The robots are Asian.
Maybe.
So-
Only if they're giant.
Sony admits the PSPgo price may have been a bit high. You think?
Are they building up to admitting that the PSP Go was a horrible idea all around?
Not yet.
Are they easing into it?
So Rob Dyer admits that the price of the PSPgo may have been too high. It turned off customers. In an odd turn of events, the platform holder has determined that maybe it was silly to charge more for a product that does less.
I don't know. I mean,
It wouldn't have been so bad if the pricing for the games wasn't so bad.
wouldn't have been so bad if the games didn't need to be downloaded by Wi-Fi.
Yeah, or come out after the retail release.
Yeah,
So problems.
they probably just could have just looked at the airline industry to find out how that didn't work out so great.
Ah.
Charging more for less, not a great business model.
Especially when you're still selling them more.
Yeah,
So, well, this is Sony we're talking about. So this is kind of par for course for them.
it's like if you
Usually
were,
they do a good job with the hardware, though. It's the software they fuck up.
or they.
Well, they were about
they
to.
don't
or the
make enough
marketing in
hardware.
general.
Yeah, and they don't make enough hardware.
Yeah, we'll get into more of the Sony hardware.
Hey, but this
issues
is
in
the
just a
year
bit.
of Sony.
It is.
Oh yeah,
You're
The year of
number
Sony
3 of the
fuck-ups?
Yeah.
Year of Sony.
yeah. It's the third year of Sony.
Okay. So Nintendo announces a shit ton of games. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the DSi XL for $189 is their big hardware launch. And when I
Oh,
mean big, I
shocking.
mean
The-
big.
Same thing as before, only slightly different in size. Let's
Yeah.
do the time warp again.
Hey, it worked for the Wii.
Wait. So this is a DSi XL. Does that mean it's bigger?
Yep.
Yes.
One and
Okay, so
only
they went
difference.
from normal size to
To medi-
smaller to bigger.
No, well, okay,
Yes.
they had the big size, and then they kind of refined it, made it a little smaller, and then they made a slightly bigger one than that one, and now they're making a really huge one.
Oh,
Well, it's done the screen size, but the actual physical form factors have gotten smaller.
Yeah.
But this one is bigger.
Yes.
So big
It's
it
not-
does not fit in a pocket anymore, which is
I
one of
believe
those
it
awesome
might fit in
plans.
the pocket, but I don't know. I
If
think
you have
big
cargo
pockets, big
pants.
cargo pant pockets.
Yeah. Well, everybody's wearing them, so hey, why not take advantage of it?
so. if you have trouble seeing that screen, well, now you won't have too much trouble seeing it now.
It's the new Reader's Digest
Is
version.
Metroid
not-
Other M about Judi Dench?
No.
Oh.
Although that would, well, the game is made by Tecmo, and they did make Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, so I don't.
Huh?
Let me tell you about one thing I never want associated ever again: Judi Dench and beach volleyball. Never, 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 never.
So the only thing we know about Other M is Samus is going up a few cup sizes.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Actually,
and there's
more than
like
a few.
Actually, I think there's supposed to be like there's like other people around, other like mercenaries, fighters, whatever.
She's
So there's
not
going to
alone.
be like a pink Samus and one with some tails, and
So it's
There'll be an
Sentai
Australian
Metroid.
one. Yeah.
It's Sentai Force Metroid.
No, not quite.
Fighting Force Metroid?
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Metroid of Duty.
Yeah.
It's more like Super Friends.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice.
yeah, not to be so negative because it actually looks interesting. I mean, that whole bit they're talking about where in segments you like stop and it switches to 3D and you do like a little rail shooter bit whenever you want to, as well as also being a side-scrolling platformer. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. I'm kind of on a wait and see type of thing. Like, I'm a big fan of the series, but
It's definitely a reinvention. Yeah.
yes.
I'll have to put up another shelf to hold all of my Metroid games now.
No, I don't have that problem. There aren't that many Metroid games.
There's a lot of Metroid games.
Not as much as you'd think. Not as many as Castlevania.
Well, okay, but still, come on.
All right. So next up, SNK announces King of Fighters 13, which would have interested Brian.
But he's not here.
Yeah, Brian is at a hockey game rooting for his beloved Red Wings. So
Although it sounded like there was some other Brian news that like the whole Neo Geo collection is coming to somebody. Again, the lack of research interfering, but
That's
No.
a lot. That's a lot of games.
no, I actually know the answer to that one.
okay.
That's a lot-
It's
that's a
going to
lot
be
of games.
released on PlayStation Network, but probably not today.
They're not just going to dump the whole thing.
No, well, it's the Neo Geo's 20th anniversary this year, so they're releasing a bunch of games, and they're going to put them out on the Sony PS3, the PSN. But that's
Well-
all we know so far. I don't know what games are coming out or anything like that.
They'll probably trickle them out slowly to try and keep people interested in buying shit they already own.
Yeah, or you can go to MAME. So next up, I had this bit of news only because I thought it was interesting about the sad tale of DoDonPachi Daiojo Black Label Extra. It's or how not to port a game.
Or how not to name a game, maybe.
Yeah. how
Well,
about that?
they basically said, well, we're going to port a game to the Xbox 360, but we're going to go ahead and steal the source code from a PS2 game.
Ah,
That didn't work out
That
too well
sounds
for 'em.
problematic.
It's very problematic, especially.
Maybe they should
So
have
you
just
need an-
released it on the PS2.
Yeah.
You need an emulator on the emulator?
Well, and well, this company 5BP, they steal the source code, but the source code's not theirs to steal. It belongs to a different publisher.
Hmm.
So
I love copyrights.
so they're doing a port of a game that's not theirs for a system that they don't have source code for to do the port.
correct.
So
How
not
is this-
shocking that hasn't come out then.
How is this not a front for a money laundering scheme?
That's a very good question. I don't have a very good answer, unfortunately.
Huh.
So next up, 3 new add-ons coming for Final Fantasy XI. My response is why?
Because people are still playing it.
There are people who are
yes.
obsessively obsessed with.
The magic words are reoccurring revenue stream. As
Well,
long
yeah.
as that hangs around.
Why do you think there's like 72 expansions for Lineage 2?
Have they shut down EverQuest yet?
No.
Yeah.
EverQuest
so there
1?
you go.
Yeah. As far as I know, it's still running.
Have they shut down EverQuest 2?
That I don't know. I
Hmm.
know they eventually shut off the EverQuest. What was that? EverQuest Lords, or whatever it was. It was like you
That
can
was the
pay
PS2
more.
one, or
No, it's
Oh.
you can pay more and be on servers that give you more loot,
huh?
along with all the rest of the people who are getting just as much loot as you are. Strangely enough, those particular servers, not great revenue generators.
Can't imagine why.
Pretty
I
sure
think
that
they ought
those
to be
got
able
shut.
to run the
That's-
whole thing on one server these days. Really,
You would think so. It's like the original Jump Gate that has like 12 players, and they keep but they keep the server running because those 12 players are there every day.
and not hard to keep it up.
Yeah. It's
Well,
running
and
under
I'm
somebody's
quite-
desk, I'm sure.
Well, I'm quite sure. Yeah, it's all on one machine. It just pays for the electricity, and they're good.
Yeah. Some guy runs to have backups by hand.
Or since the company's still around, they probably still have a soft spot for it.
Oh, and
Yeah.
here it is.
They better hurry up and start making some revenue with a new version there, or they're gonna have some problems.
Well, isn't their big revenue generator probably gonna be this Lego MMO?
No, well, maybe. I don't know.
They're gonna
Depends
do.
on how it goes.
They're doing micropayments for blocks. That's their revenue generating right there, John. So for every block, it's gonna cost you like 5 cents or something like that.
Well, if they can charge as much for virtual cards and fake collectible card games, maybe there'd be a market for virtual blocks.
So, anyway, not to get into Final Fantasy 11, but I'm sure that these expansions will help the 20 or 30 players help kill that level 1 creature. So,
Maybe they'll release or lower the time to kill that final boss down to only 12 or 13 hours.
that's true. So, mysterious glitch renders PlayStation 3 units inoperable.
But not Slims.
No, it doesn't. It's only for the PlayStation. I think it's the ones prior to like December of 2009 or something like that. But basically, it's like a calendar error or something like that. It's something really
Apparently somebody
odd.
at Sony doesn't know how to use network time synchronization.
Well, it just sounds bizarre. I mean, what kind of thing do you have a bug that corrupts data due to clock routines?
Yeah. So for
That's
whatever reason, when you turn on your PlayStation 3, it reverts the time back to like December 31st, 1999 or something like that, and corrupts your save files, and games that require a check to the internet, like say Heavy Rain, won't work, which is excellent.
The
Now wait a
solution
minute.
is
When did
apparently
the
What?
PS3 come out?
3 years ago.
significantly after 2000? Yes.
So it's like it's
Alrighty
it's
then.
introducing some information into a variable that is not correct.
Yeah.
Some weird ass shit be going on.
Yeah, and
Why does Heavy Rain need to check the internet anyway?
I think it's some sort of authentication thing.
But why?
Anti-piracy.
Huh?
Maybe a DLC check?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Is there DLC for Heavy Rain? I
Not
didn't think
yet,
so.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the hooks are in there.
Mm. But Sony released a statement confirming that the problems are caused by a clock error, and they hope to resolve the issue in 24 hours. But in the meantime,
It's 24 hours Sony time.
well,
Well, I'm just thinking, would the machine know it's 24 hours?
but in the meantime, they've warned PS3 users not to turn on their systems. Doing so may result in errors in some functionality, such as recording obtained trophies and not being able to restore certain data.
Oh, Sony, your PR is so dreamy.
So that's some
Microsoft was shooting every third box in the head, and they handled that better.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, just don't. Yeah, I don't think at any time did Microsoft say, "Don't play the product we sold you." This was never
this
something
is
that
actually
they
a
said.
new one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other console that.
Our solution is to not use our product. It's not particularly good PR.
I mean, I could understand that for like the
Go
Atari
play your
Jaguar,
360
but-
while we fix this.
Do you have a
Which
working
is probably
3DO?
what
'Cause
people
that-
are doing anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, but if you're not white enough to afford other systems, then you're stuck with just
You could
the
be
piece-
Asian enough.
True. So,
Emily, are you Asian enough to afford other systems?
are you? Oh, that's my phone that I failed to turn off.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, failing in your moderator role.
By the way, are you
Did you ever
Asian?
go to moderating school?
I don't know what that is.
I've
Yeah.
seen the commercials.
Obviously.
The Ohio School of Podcasting.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I got my podcasting degree from DeVry.
Yep. I opened up the door and I put a dollar bill in the machine, and out came my broadcasting degree.
Are you Asian enough to rescue the president?
Huh?
Bad dudes reference.
I like the Dauphin there. You're ruining a great legacy of things.
A great legacy of what?
Of things.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So, any other news that I forgot to mention before we started this thing?
Yes, but moving on.
Did you want to bring it up or?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So, care or don't care. We've already went through Civilization 4, so we're not. I mean 5. So we're not
I've
gonna,
been through 4 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True statement.
Yep.
So Steve will be happy playing Civilization on his Amiga.
You know, it's. I never owned an Amiga, and I'm kind of sad about that.
That's unfortunate.
I always wanted an Amiga 500.
I learned to program on an Amiga.
I am.
I had a great basic.
I learned my first programming on a C64, which was also not a bad place to learn programming. I did not learn CPM, even though I had a Commodore 128D.
Damn it! That I was about to ask that too.
I had the D version, mind you, the one that looked like a PC. It had like it wasn't just a keyboard that you plug stuff into. It's pretty awesome.
It is.
The disk drive heads were not aligned, however, so every 5th or 6th seek failed.
That's excellent.
And when we sold it, we made sure it only seeked 5 times, and they bought it. It was awesome. Because otherwise, it would totally crash the program because it was looking for data and it couldn't find it, and it got the wrong data and it would crash. It was awesome.
Whoops.
Yeah. There was supposedly you could, there was still at that time there were still Commodore 64 repair shops, so I could have brought it in and had them align the thing. But then I would have been out without a computer for a while.
Well,
That was not acceptable.
Roger's store used to be near a Commodore repair shop too. The computer room used to do Commodore repairs.
Well, yeah, it had an entire Amiga selection in there as well.
Amiga retail
Yes.
Yes.
outside of software, etc.
Yes. Amazing but true. As a matter of fact, my store actually might have been part of it.
Really?
It was a big shop.
So, Supreme Commander 2.
Well, if
Where's
Brian were
Brian
here,
when you need him?
yeah,
If Brian was here,
If-
I wasn't impressed with the first one, so I don't know why, but something after after StarCraft, I have never found a RTS
I can't
that's
play
really
those.
been interesting.
I can't play those old style because they don't like to zoom out from Battlefield. It's just unacceptable to me now. That's why I couldn't play Red Alert 4 or whatever the fuck. Because oh look, I get to see a 16 by 16 grid, and that's all I'm ever gonna see of the whole map, the whole game. That's not really. That's great for 1997.
The thing that has me more interested about this one is they're handling the port to the 360 in-house this time. Because for Supreme Commander 1, the 360 port, they handed off and had really bad performance problems.
And they had really bad performance problems on the PC too. It's kind of a demanding game.
So, next on Care or Don't Care, actually our last thing here, Aliens versus Predator. for
Which one are you
Xbox
putting your money
360.
down on?
For Aliens versus
I
Predator?
like how Aliens
Yeah.
versus Predator only says 2 of the 3 teams.
Well, yeah, well, there's,
Well, the humans don't count.
yeah, Space Marines,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Cannon.
I heard some
Cannon
guy
fodder.
who was reading was railing on how the Space Marines were very uncreative in this game. Like
They're Space
the space
Marines.
kind of the alien Space Marines kind of set the standard for Space Marines.
That's the problem with being the original innovator.
You're not being creative. Fuck you.
Are they bald and are they in space? I mean, what more do you want?
There weren't very many bald Space Marines in Aliens.
And they're really not nearly burly enough to be up to the current Space Marine
Yeah,
standard.
yeah. They need to be like entirely mutant-sized limbs, a la Gears of War,
Yeah.
and
Just
in armor that's totally, you know,
Just replace them with Terminators.
but then they're not Space Marines.
Make
An
a more
entirely
interesting
different
game.
crossover.
Yeah, that's a different crossover.
I don't care.
Aliens versus Predator versus Terminator.
Yeah, why
Is
not?
that a
And
game
all
you would
sorts
play?
of game balance issues because there's no brains to eat.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Aliens versus Predator versus Terminator versus Navi.
You mean the
I think
From
Navi
Avatar.
would-
the game from, or the
I thought you
computer
were talking
system from
about
Lane?
Zelda.
No.
Not little girls setting up computers.
Well, that would be a very interesting. first-
Physical incarnations of the internet.
Yes, yes.
No.
Come on now.
It's cool. She could be a beatard now.
She would be a B-tard now.
So,
That would make that show much more disturbing.
Did you ever watch a gamer yet? Because
No,
one of the main characters is totally a B-tard.
of the controller type or the running around
The
shooting
controller
people
type. The controller type.
Yeah, that sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah, check it out.
no, you shouldn't.
It's awesome. Telling you, it's the only movie I've seen twice in the theater in the last 6 years.
Are you gonna buy it on DVD?
I gotta look and see if they've actually put anything extra on the DVD.
More boobies.
It'd be hard not to have. It'd be hard to have more boobies in a non NC-17 rated film.
Well, there's got to be like an unrated version that's going to
No,
be
it's
coming
still
out.
R.
Well, there'll be more boobies. It'll just be of Gerard Butler. So,
Thanks
So
for that.
does the movie actually have anything interesting in it?
Yes, it's a great cyberpunk movie.
Okay.
I advise if it shows up on streaming or something to watch it.
Add it to the bottom of the Netflix queue.
isn't your Netflix queue at like 400 or 500?
300.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's like what 250, 300 now.
So
Nothing compared to pasties.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a hard cap around 500?
No.
No, I don't think there's any.
Well,
cap.
I don't know if there's a hard cap somewhere, but it's not 500. So I'm pretty sure Pasty's got like 800 movies set up on his queue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how that guy has time to do anything because he's also got GameFly,
yeah,
and so like he plays all this stuff and he buys all his games from GameFly now too.
Well, and he
Because you
goes
can
out
do
on
that thing
dates.
where
Because
you'll rent it, and then you can just buy the used one that you've just rented for cheaper. So
Don't have to pay shipping and handling either, I imagine.
yeah, they just buy. They send
Oh,
send you
they
the
still send
box.
you the box and the manual with
Yeah.
it. I bought some of the used GameFly stuff. It's usually in good shape.
Yeah. Well, he has really bad luck with GameStop, so I
What-
don't.
Well,
I haven't been in a GameStop for years.
I have pretty good. I mean, I go and I buy stuff and it works. But he buys stuff and it's it shatters and impales. I don't know. So
next on Mythbusters.
So, the only other thing I wanted to add was I subjected myself and watched the first episode of The Tester, which is that reality game show.
Where people compete for the worst job in the universe?
Yeah,
I just watched the fourth panel thing for that. on,
yeah, I
Penny
saw
Arcade.
that. It's really quite awful.
Oh, I can't imagine that it's not.
Plus, when the guy was voted off and he was in tears that he didn't get the job, I laughed hysterically because I'm an awful, awful man.
Well, but is it worse than Gamers? That reality show they did.
What was that?
They like got a bunch of gamers together and had them do real life gaming challenges, like play paintball.
Huh?
Yeah.
Was that the one where
That
they were
had to
in-
have been comedy gold,
Was
actually.
that the one where they were
Well,
in Vegas or
because-
something?
I don't remember where they had it. I just
How long
remember
ago
a
was
bunch
it?
of standard reality show douchebags occasionally talking about video games.
How long ago was it?
A couple of years, I think.
Oh no, this one was last year.
Yeah.
Might have
end of
been
last
year. Don't
Well,
know.
it was really. You would have remembered if it was this new because I saw a promos for it on like, I don't know, ridiculous cable channels.
It's-
like in
I
the
think
fall.
G4 did it.
It's about equal as far as stinkiness quotient. They're fairly equal. The problem that I have with the tester is that all the challenges they do, which is typical for standard reality TV show fare, but the challenges that they do have absolutely nothing to do with the job that's at
Well,
hand.
yes.
You sit in a cubicle and you wait for your nutrient-rich sludge.
Yep.
That's it.
I thought that was great in the fourth panel thing where they brought that guy in who works for them now that actually was a tester.
Yeah, and he was like testing.
I was telling about the girl who was testing the Pokemon game where you take pictures of Pokemons, and all she had to do, all she did for 9 months was take pictures of Pokemon on a Game Boy, and
Yeah.
not.
And she couldn't move
yeah.
around or anything. It was
Yeah,
just,
it's just her taking pictures over and over again.
and it was to make sure that you didn't get the ass end of a Pokemon.
Oh, and then that guy was testing Ken Griffey Jr. for the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And had to make sure that the stats worked.
Yeah,
That still doesn't sound as bad as the guy who spent days doing 360 testing where he just rebooted them constantly.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still surprised that they couldn't get a robot or a monkey to do that.
I'm surprised they didn't
probably
show up
becau-
with the Red Ring of Death from doing that all the time. How did that get past the testing?
Well, I'm surprised. Well, it's probably was cheaper to pay some, human being to do it than to come up with a machine that worked well enough to be able to do the testing over and over and over.
No,
and
because
over
they've
and
got
over.
those-
Probably hard to train the monkey to tell when it goes wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, but the whatchamacallit, they do that. They have automated testers that do that for DVD players. So I don't know why they didn't have just a little robot that just pokes every couple seconds.
Maybe
Everything
because they
depends.
make more DVD players than game consoles. So
I don't know about that.
I would think that the robot's pretty easy to make. They could have gotten a Lego logo set and just wrote it in logo. All right, which one? Wait a minute. Which way we gotta turn the turtle?
Again with the logo.
Yeah,
Hey, on your Cintiq, can you put logo on that?
No, you can't put logo. You
Oh,
could probably
that's
draw a turtle.
unfortunate.
sure there isn't a bamboo app?
Well, I don't know. We'd have to get a bamboo, and they just seem awful.
Okay.
The
I-
Cintiq won't run the bamboo stuff?
No.
Bummer.
So for those listening, Steve has a very huge Cintiq, and
It's much larger than I had anticipated it
it's
being.
it's
by the way.
it's like the most technologically advanced thing out there.
It's the most technologically advanced
It
drawing
views
pad
comics
ever
from it draws
that
comics
will
from
ever
the future.
exist.
Yeah,
It
ever.
is the most technologically advanced drawing tool that will ever exist.
Next to your hand.
Yes. As often said when someone says, "Well, I like to use a traditional materials better," it is the standard reply is, "Yeah, let me know what happens when they get around to making the undo function for traditional materials."
It's called an eraser.
Yeah, not in ink. It's not. Just try painting and erasing the paint. Not good. It's called throw it out the window and start all over again. Not fun.
Well, it's also called "Don't Work with Paint."
Well, don't work with paint, don't work with ink. Pretty much don't work with anything except a number 2 2B pencil. Even the H pencils are harder to. And you better use really good paper, because if you use one of those motorized erasers, you ever tried using that on normal printer paper?
Yeah.
It's like, and you end up with a ball of paper where your drawing used to be.
That sounds like a pretty good undo.
Yes. That's we don't call that undo. We have a different word for that.
Yeah, you just crumble up the pieces of paper and just add it to your origami rock collection.
Yes. They're all random. It's awesome. It's just like nature.
All right. So anything else before we end this thing?
You didn't ask about Huxley yet.
Well, I don't know. I was going to, and then I'm like, well, Steve will probably tell me the same thing, that you don't know anything about Huxley.
Nope.
Any
Yep.
Star Trek patches?
Don't know. I'm taking a couple months off of Star Trek for them to debug all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Solid
heard.
plan.
It's not going to matter. By the time he comes back, Sony Online's going to own it.
Probably.
And have come out with the new combat
A
system.
new combat system that sucks.
I
And
heard a-
everybody can be Khan.
Yeah. It'll be based off Meridian 59.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that the full trailer for Tron Legacy is supposed to be showing up this weekend.
Yeah. Well,
Speaking of Meridian 59,
What?
he just mentioned it.
I wonder if those servers are still up.
Yeah, I wonder if they are. It was interesting. I found it interesting that the first real Penny Arcade advertiser once Coup took over was Meridian 59 in 2003.
Wow.
I'm like, that game was still around in 2003? That game still had revenue to advertise with in 2003?
Well, in their defense, it probably didn't cost that much to advertise with Penny Arcade then.
Well, perhaps.
It's probably, what, thousands of dollars now?
Yeah. Well, didn't you see that? I should post that up sometime. The graphic of how Coup lays out webcomic business. He bases it based on him and then a couple other comics and then everybody else. And they're in the top tier, and they have revenues of $500,000 plus a year.
Well, they do have, like, what, 10
Yeah.
employees now or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. Kind of crazy. And you know, they run a convention that's profitable, which is,
Shocking.
you know,
It's
not
it's
it's
more
hard
than
to see that in the
profitable.
wild. It's rare to see a profitable convention in the wild.
I mean, come on, 2 PAXs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's profitable.
Well, they're gonna stick it to the dentists. So
Yeah, they could do PAX Central and have it here in Colorado.
there's a thing on the Penny Arcade DVs about the people trying to get PAX South, you know, and PAX Australia,
What?
PAX Europe.
Start
Pretty much there will be there will be any more conventions of any other kind in about 10 years.
Yeah.
It'll just be PAX everywhere.
Yeah, PAX
Well, they picked
Australia.
the right name then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently. Yeah.
PAX Australia will have Michael Atkinson outside the door beating up gamers.
Yeah, you get little staves with little PAX things on the top of them, and if you drive from place to place, if anything happens to you, legions will kill millions in order to avenge your offense.
Oh, great. A PAX version of a Zerg Rush. That's excellent.
Yeah, not even going to try and correct that one.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to Die Hard Gamer Radio.
Jump the standard.
Thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.